Hey teachers, this is Tara with Teaching on Lemon Lane, and this is just a quick walkthrough of the design and sell a haunted house. Before we get started, I wanted to go through this. If you plan on using this for distance learning, you're going to need to make a student copy. And so just to kind of show you what these instructions mean, essentially you need to make a student copy of the slides that you're going to include. So the way that you do that, depending on which type of computer you're using, you're either going to hold down the shift button or the command button when you select the slides over here. So notice how it's highlighted so I can show you what I've selected. I'm using a Mac, and so I actually use command to individually select the slides that I want my students to be using. Now let's say that we are doing this for distance learning, so I need digital copies. So I'm going to go ahead and include the instructions. The student copy are all the slides that you want your students to be able to see and interact with and edit and use. So obviously they don't need these kind of headers right here. I'm going to include the brainstorm page that's already completed, the figurative language anchor chart. I can include the completed example so they have something to compare it with. And again, I'm holding down the command key as I individually select these. I also want to include the haunted house, and I want the graphic organizer. So I'll click the one that I want. And now as I let off that command key, all of those slides are still selected. So what I'm going to do next is I come up here and I click File, and then I'm going to come down here to make a copy. And then you're going to click selected slides. That's going to create a totally separate slide document with only the slides that you've selected. Once you click on that, you can change this to haunted house writing project, student copy. And that way, this allows you to keep this master copy of all of the slides that you can use kind of year to year as things change, and you're not interacting or deleting these master copy slides. So make sure that you make a student copy. And by doing that, that makes it really easy to kind of share that link with your students through Google Classroom, which will make a copy for each student. So that's what those instructions kind of go through. As we come to the instruction page, know that this is editable. So as you read through this, if you want to change this to your own wants or needs of your classroom, you can go through and edit that. Let's go into the planning pages so you can kind of see the different options here. If you're using this as digital, you can actually use these little highlighter tabs, and students can come in, click, and drag and highlight kind of the words and the adjectives and the phrases that they might want to use as they work on this writing project. So that's what that is. You can also have them simply brainstorm their own nouns, and to do that, everything's been sized already, so they just need to click and they can type it in, and then they can go in and highlight their favorite options. So those are your different brainstorming pages. I've also included a figurative language kind of anchor chart is what this one could be used for, because we have the different examples as you take students through it. You can also have students write in their own as you go through the anchor chart. So you could go through the anchor chart and print off this one, and you could give a definition and an example, and then have students maybe come up with their own example on this page. And again, this will work digitally as well. So you can either print this off and have students write it in, or you can use it as the digital copy. Let's go ahead and look at the completed example. You'll notice you can actually insert a moving GIF here. A GIF is a moving picture, and if you'd like to learn how to do that, it's really simple and really fun. I actually have a blog post that kind of takes you through it, and you can do that by clicking on the link over here. This will take you to the blog post where I show you how to do that. Let me show you what the GIF looks like when you insert it into the haunted house. So if you want to insert a GIF, you would actually click on one of the windows that your students have moved on to their page. And notice when I click on the window, the option for replace image pops up here. And you can actually insert their own moving picture if you save it as a GIF, and you can do this really easily if you have Screencastify. And if you don't have Screencastify, it's an awesome extension for Chromebooks. But you would replace image, and then you would upload from your computer. And then you simply select it and insert it. So here's a GIF that I had saved that you can insert in there. This is very easy to do and simple. If you want to learn more about that, read the blog post. But that's a fun option. Again, you can do this as your students do a quick video of them using Screencastify on the Chromebook, save it as a GIF, and then they can insert themselves into their haunted house. You do not have to do this. I just wanted to show this as a fun detail. Let's go ahead and look at what the students are going to see when they are going to be creating their own. So I'm going to go ahead and make this fit. You'll notice any teacher notes that I have are yellow, so you can delete these if you want to. But essentially, it's quite straightforward. So students are going to come in, they can type here by simply double clicking, they can edit it. The way that they create the look of their haunted house, they're going to single click on one of the silhouettes, and then they click and hold and drag. And as they click and drag, it allows them to place the silhouette onto their haunted house. So very straightforward. They can size that if they want to. Most of the sizing has already been added though. If you're wanting to insert their own picture into the window, you need to use the picture placeholder, which are these windows right here. So if you're wanting to insert a GIF, students are going to need one of these windows, and you click and drag it over, and then it's added. And notice when I click off of it, replace image isn't an option. When I click on a picture placeholder, replace image then becomes an option. The one thing that students might have issues with is using the word art on Google Chrome or on Google Slides. So to edit the word art, you're going to double click, and this is where they're going to put their hook. Now notice, use enter to save. So students are going to be used to clicking enter to kind of create a new line. But if they want to use multiple lines like I've done here, they're going to need to hold shift and then click enter. If they click enter, it's going to exit out and save what they have. So I'll show you how they would do that. So we'll put the, and now I want place on a new line. So if I hit enter, it exits out and I only have the. That's not what I want. So I double click the, and then I'm going to go shift enter, and that allows me to create a new line. The place, sorry, it's a little slow. The place, shift enter, you've, shift enter, and shift enter, dying to see. And now I click enter, and that saves my word art. And that allows me to scale this. If students are having a lot of issue with this, you can simply just delete it and insert text there. But it makes it a lot of fun that they can come in here and they can actually click on their color that they want it to be. They can create a custom color by adding gradient stops and coming in here. So it's a fun tool that they're probably not used to that I wanted to introduce students to. But the shift enter is the biggest thing to keep in mind as students do this. Now, these circles right here are the picture placeholders, just like the window. So you're going to click on a picture placeholder, and notice when we do that, replace image comes up here. So we go to replace image, and then we're going to do a quick Google search the web. Let's say I'm talking about the roommates, like on the example. So I'm searching bats. I find a favorite image of a bat. I double click on it, and it's going to automatically insert it into that picture placeholder. Now below that, I can just double click and start typing. And also on the other places I can type, but anywhere you see that orange stripe, that's a way of telling you that there's a picture placeholder there, so you can add that Google search really easily. The last part I want to take you through is if you want to do a printable. I've also included a printable of the poster that you can create right here. Let's go through the graphic organizer options that you have. These again can be digital or printable. If you want to use them as a digital, students just click on them and type. If you use a different graphic organizer, you can actually come up here and change the heading before students use it. So this one is for a creative writing. This one you can use as a persuasive, and this is persuading someone why would they want to purchase that house. You can even do informational. And we also have kind of the revisions and draft page, along with another kind of final draft option if you want. And then don't forget about the reflection page that your students can do. So you can use the on a scale of 1 to 10, and you can decide what you want them to be rating themselves on. And if you're using it digitally, students simply use the highlighter squares to show how they feel like they did, and then they support that with evidence. And again, if you're using digitally, they can use these little X's to check off that they've done everything. with their figurative language, and then they can actually type the example here, and then another place where they can define a term. I think that's everything. Again, this can be used as a printable as well. These digital tools are just there in case you're using them as a digital product completely. But if not, you can print this off, have students fill it out, and then turn it in. Super excited to see what your students come up with. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much, guys.